Madeline Soto, we keep learning more and more about the horrible life that she was enduring while she was in the care of her mother, Jen Soto, and her boyfriend, Stephan Stearns. A crazy, crazy atmosphere in which mom herself even said, "Hey, you know what? Go sleep with my daughter." I don't think she was implying sex. At least I hope she wasn't. But, it's okay. I want to sleep in today. Go ahead and go sleep with my boyfriend. Even when they weren't together, came over to visit. Go sleep together. This sounds like a good idea. The questions are continuing to mount about Jennifer Soto. Stephan Stearns, he's on a trail to possibly death. He has two upcoming trials, one for the sexual abuse and then for the first degree murder. Jen, though, she's still free as of this recording. There's a lot out there, a lot of questions. Robin Dreek, retired FBI special agent, chief of the counterintelligence behavioral analysis program. Uh, there's a laundry list here. I want to go through some of these things that Jen Soto has inconsistent statements on, or just seem to be flat out lies. What's your take on it thus far? We got Stefan, like I said, two trials coming up, likely going to be death, or they are going to seek the death penalty. And with this case, I don't know how he's not going to end up there. Where do you think this goes for Jen going forward?
Well, good on him. Get rid of them. There's no fixing that. He is
No.
he is he is just pure evil in this world, and yeah, he needs to go away. Because he will do it again. You cannot heal that. It's
Hmm.
just bad.
Yeah.
Her, I still think they're waiting on charges, waiting to kind of figure out how far they can go with the charges.
Hmm.
She's culpable. There's no doubt that she's culpable. It's just a matter of how they can prove the culpability is what I think they're waiting on. I think they're doing a lot of digital forensics here to kind of see and kind of track any kind of text messages going back and forth that can actually bring as evidence, because she's going to garner a lot of sympathy with a good defense attorney,
Hmm.
as being trauma bonded and a victim in this as well. And so I think what prosecution is probably trying to do is trying to get hard evidence showing that culpability. Kind of like when it's a little bit different, but we think about Chad Daybell. My initial thing was, hey, he's going to play the sympathy factor because he's manipulated by Lori,
Hmm.
because he's just a dope and a mope. But when you saw the text messages, you're like, nope, he's completely culpable, and bingo, the proof is in the pudding, and he got convicted of it. And I think the same thing's going on here. Is that defense is thinking we can go for a sympathy theme here to kind of get as little as we can, but I think prosecution is waiting to get some really good hard evidence about her culpability in this, as well as I've said before, they want to undo a network here. It's not just going to be her that they're going after. They're going to be going after a lot of people. I think it takes time to not just track the people that he's in touch with social media wise on the dark web for trafficking, not just images, but potentially trafficking humans, because there's potential here of her being charged with human trafficking as well as of her daughter, as well as has she done this before? This is going to take a lot of time and investigation, especially if she was also involved in the dark web with a lot of anonymity. So there's a lot of things going on here that are behind the scenes we don't know. I think that's why we're seeing a slow walk on charges.
Something that stood out to me when I was looking through some of those documents over the weekend, uh, the bedrooms in Jen Soto's apartment numbered. Who
Hmm.
the hell numbers the rooms in their house and goes, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna sleep in this room. Why don't you go to room 4 and sleep with my daughter?" Literally, it's in the document. Room 4 is what they went to. That seemed to me, that really raised my eyebrows on, oh, is there like a lot of trafficking going on here? And like, you get room 1, I mean, I've only seen that like there used to be a show on HBO called Cat House where it was about a brothel, and they're like, you go to room
Yep.
5 or whatever. I mean, that's the
Yep.
only time I've ever like seen such a thing kind of be played out other than like, a hotel.
Yep. The probability of him being involved in that and potentially a ringleader is high in my mind. Again, we
Mhm.
don't know until we see evidence and all that. And so I think that's what they're trying to do with her is, at the very least, if she's paying any sort of the bills on this house and it's being used in that way, there's culpability there. I mean, so
Yeah.
she's hosed. I mean, it's just a matter of them deciding at what level she's going to be hosed.
Well, and her inconsistent statements. Initially, she said that she saw her getting dressed in the morning. Initially, in one of the statements, she said that we dropped her off at school, and then backed
Yep.
that up to my partner dropped her off at school. Uh, these aren't just statements that are like, "Oh, oops." I mean, it seems like, oh, you have a reason why you need to change the story, not just I messed up and I spoke incorrectly or something like that. It's a lot of catching things. Her demeanor during the interactions with law enforcement, especially when they were at that office in that recent video that we saw come out, very calm, even jovial at times. There was something that was said at the end, and like they're all joking. I cannot imagine. I can think of a smile that would come near my face if my daughter was missing. Now, I
Yeah.
know that's me. It's most parents, I think, that love and care about their children. Tells me a lot about just her lack of empathy to what was going on, or lack of emotional impact on her that her
Or the
daughter's
behavior.
missing. Yeah.
Yeah, the behavior shows you that this isn't the first rodeo because it's been part of a pattern in her life potentially.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, I've seen this before. I've seen parents traffic their own children. So
Why?
that's why my mind goes there on this
Yeah.
one. Especially as soon as I saw those numbered rooms, I'm like, oop. Because again, I'm an empathetic person.
Yeah.
Empathy from, understanding the world from someone else's point of view, the tragedy of her being involved with an incredibly toxic individual that was sexually abusing her daughter. But as you start seeing the data points falling out here, you're like, ooh, no, there's a lot more going on with her culpability and involvement than was originally seen. Especially as that video, like you said, that you referenced of that interview of them reporting their, her daughter missing was really, really telling because she was reporting it as if, one of your students at school didn't come to school, not as one of her, as her daughter was gone and missing.
I've seen people far more. I mean, your pet's missing. There's a lot more emotion going on, and this was just a lack of anything there. It
And
was,
also the use of the past tense in referencing her daughter during that too.
yeah,
That is always a clear indicator. I'm always looking for tense
yeah.
when listening to people talking about victims and people missing, because tense is a great indicator of the knowledge level of the individual sharing the information.
I'm going to assume they have eyes on her right now. If she does try to run or something, that's not going to go very far. How far out do you think we are looking until they finally do make an arrest with her, or is there still a road for her to be like a state's witness or something if she's able to open up their eyes to other abuses that are going on in some sort of a ring?
So I'm thinking we're not going to see an arrest quite yet. I have a few, again, pure conjecture. My point. I don't think she's a flight risk because I don't think she's all that. I don't think she's got a whole lot of marbles rolling around upstairs.
Yeah.
And I think they have enough eyes on her to have that sense of she's not a flight risk as they do the investigation. Because you want her to have enough freedom to do stupid things so they can get.
Yeah.
They are. Your pause. At the same time, though, her contacts if she had any direct contacts with any purveyors of her trade, they're all going to have evaporated.
Mhm.
And so that's part of the challenge there. But I think as soon as it looks like they get any kind of indication that she's looking to beat feet out of town, they're going to arrest her because they at least have something. I guarantee you,
Yeah.
they at least have some charges on her they can charge her with right now. There's no doubt they do. It's just a matter of I think they're waiting to get as deep as they possibly can, exposing as many networks as they possibly can, and then they're gonna do the arrest.
Her digital footprint is gonna be very interesting to see.
I agree. And I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to link it with his and what again my conjecture and theory here is that they're trying to they're probably looking at her like the Maxine Giswell
Mhm.
in the Epstein case.
Yeah.
That like she was the facilitator of the heinousness that was going on in that house
Yeah.
and they're trying to determine just at what degree that was happening.
Ghislaine Maxwell, Maxine
That's right.
Giswell.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Yes.
That's
Say
her
it.
twin sister that lives in
Sorry.
Oregon.
Sorry.
But
Yeah.
she's
I
really
get my names all
she's
messed up.
just into to beet farming. She's
My apologies on the name
it's
mess
fine.
ups.
No, that's I would have done the exact same thing on that one because it's a weird name. But yeah, it's
You know who I meant.
yes, yes. It's going to be very interesting to see because I think those text messages, all of that stuff, is going to very much show a monster. That's my opinion, my conjecture on it. I don't think she had her head in the stand that much to not be aware of all these things going on
And
in those years.
to really emphasize the monster here is from what we saw this week too, with how she originally said that her daughter was uncomfortable at first sleeping with the boyfriend, and then she got more comfortable with it.
It's called
So
conditioning. It's
yeah,
called
it's called
grooming.
grooming.
Yeah,
So she has reps in grooming. So you wonder
yeah.
how often she had groomed before.
That's yeah. It is. It's disturbing, and
And
hopefully,
see and God, one more thing in there
yeah.
too. So part of what they're trying to do too is because I remember in one of the cases I worked on this in similar light, you want to keep enough of an ability to interview her where she's going to share other victims' names.
Mhm,
And so that's going to be part of this whole interview, arrest, plea deal, and
mhm,
this whole process is to have her share victims' names so they can go rescue other kids
yeah.
and save them. Given because I mean, there's this one horrendous case I worked. It was an espionage investigation, and espionage was a small part of what he had done. This individual had victimized and raped 60 kids,
Oh my god.
and part of the plea agreement we were trying to do was to have him share the actual true name so we could go rescue these kids and get them the counseling and therapy that they
Yeah,
needed. So in order to do that, we needed to really strategize how to have that conversation where the shields aren't up and they block us out. So my guess is that they're trying to probably strategize the same thing here is you're not just trying to put her away, you're trying to save a lot of people.
and hopefully they're able to get some of that out of her and save some kids as they
100%.
take them both down.
Yep.
Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to follow us wherever you download podcasts, and especially Apple Podcasts, where you can get advanced episode and premium content on our premium channel right there. Also, be sure to follow us on social media so you don't miss any breaking updates on the stories that matter to you most. We're on TikTok, X, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Hidden Killers Podcast with Tony Bruschi, and you'll find us right there. Again, thanks for watching.